Oh, my sweet, voluptuous child, you have been bred solely for working in the coal mines. Good evening, laddies, lasses, and lasses, and welcome to the click. You smell absolutely astounding today. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Now, I have gathered a voluptuous, beautiful pile of posts for you from r/InsaneParents, r/EntitledParents, and some other goodies from Reddit and other social medias, and I figured we would scroll through this absolute hellscape together. Enjoy. Mwah.
I mean, what's the problem? I'm good with that. Shrugging. #homeschool.
If you homeschool your kids, they won't fit in with society.
That is correct.
I do love my piss-filtered AI slop, heck yeah. Also, how is that woman holding that joint? It's kind of impressive. I'm sort of more impressed by that. It must be like some glue or like tape or something. I'm gonna go on the limb here and say that someone who makes AI slop to, like, I don't know, own the anti-homeschooling libs on Facebook is probably not fit to be a teacher, you know? r/off my chest. I am thinking of divorcing my wife for how she treats our twin daughters. I just want to rant on an account not associated with my hobbies. Sorry. I am 34M. My wife is 35. My daughters are 9-year-old twins. Twins kind of run in my wife's family, even though she herself is not one. From what I know, she is very jealous of her cousins that are twins when they were growing up. So she's been very intense about it ever since she got pregnant. When going to her 8-week appointment, she kept talking about how she hoped the baby was 2 babies. I thought it was funny, but not weird. When we found out they were indeed twins, my wife was so happy and so excited. And of course, I was happy to be having kids too. The problem started with the baby planning. When decorating the nurseries, she decided they should instead be in the same room. This makes sense for newborns for convenience. But she always said she wanted them to share rooms forever. This seemed very silly to me since we have a 6-bedroom house. I mean, yeah, let the kids have their privacy. They are their own individuals, believe it or not. She threw us a gender reveal and got her family to organize us a baby shower. Both parties were themed around the fact that the girls were twins. Gifts were required to be matching. All the games and activities were about things in sets of 2. This is around when my family started thinking she was being weird, but I disagreed with them. I mean, some of those things can just be like cute activities, right? You know, like, oh, we're having twins, so we're gonna have some games that are like paired in 2 and stuff. That's just kind of cute and silly. The forcing them to share the same bedroom forever, despite having 6 bedrooms in the house, seems kind of weird. But okay, I'm like half agreeing with some of the stuff, and some of the stuff seems a bit odd so far. We had a bit of an argument before the baby shower, because she wanted to give the girls what to me were overly matching names. Her favorites were Ava and Ava. Oh, that's gonna be confusing as hell. In the end, she agreed that having them be only one letter off was silly. I mean, how do you even call them? It's like Ava, no, the other Ava. That's gonna be difficult. And we ended up with matching, but not overly obvious names. When my girls were born, my wife would dress them up the same every day no matter what. When one of the girls dirtied her clothes, she would change them both, even if that meant waking one of them up. No, that's overbearing. Okay, one thing, when they're like tiny babies, because they don't care what they're wearing when they're babies. If you want to match it, you know, it's up to you to change the clothes. You know, whatever. Who cares? But when they're at the age when they're actually playing independently and stuff, that seems really weird. Like, one of them dirties the clothes and you have to wake the other one up because both have to be matching clothes all the time. That seems really overbearing for the wrong reasons. She would get mad at me if I dressed them differently. She would get upset if they did not both want to be fed at the same time. This is when I started noticing how weird she was being about the twin thing. I'm going to be using those fake names from now on. When they started going to kinder, she bought them all matching coats, new shoes, backpacks, and lunchboxes. But she would also get upset if any of them got swapped. She made sure to name label anything. One time she complained to the teacher about sending Anna in Betty's coat the previous day. Anna has always been the quieter, more calm one of the two. Okay, one thing that kind of stands out to me is that they're gonna have matching clothes and matching everything, right? But they also can't wear each other's things, even though the items are identical. Like, it's not even a convenience thing. It's one thing if it's like, oh, we're just gonna buy 2 of the same blue jacket or whatever. It's like, and just wear whatever, you know? Now it's like, no, they have to wear the one with a specific tag. This seems overbearing in a very odd way. Anna has always been the quieter, more calm of the two. Now that they are older, she likes to stay home and read. She watches TV with her mom. Betty, on the other hand, is a lot more energetic. She likes to play outside and build things. She likes to play video games with me, or stay with her auntie, my sister, who is a hiker and mountain biker. She loves sports class and tennis, and last year started doing swimming too. This is the origin of all of our problems. Oh, that godforsaken swimming! My wife doesn't like that Betty is not as feminine and calm as her and Anna. Oh no, come on, they're their own individuals, please, no, this is so toxic, man, no! When Betty started not wanting to have her hair done every morning, they had such a massive fight, the house was tense for a week. Oh no, this is getting bad, man. My wife likes to send the girls to school in the same or matching hairstyles, and would get upset when Betty would return home with her hair in a ponytail or messed up from sports. Okay, usually in these kind of stories, right, you can tell when parents are trying to live through their kids, if they're trying way too hard to push them into specific interests, for example, or specific career choices that may or may not even be for the kids themselves. Living through your kids typically isn't a great deal. But in this instance, it's living through your kids, but not in the stereotypical stuff like career choices or whatever. It's with the fact that they're twins, and therefore they always have to be identical because she didn't grow up as a twin despite her cousins doing that or whatever, so now they have to be identical at like every turn. This is a completely different thing of living through your kids, man. They go to private school, and Betty recently also asked me if she could start wearing the boys' uniform, pants, instead of the skirt. I said I could buy them for her if that made her more comfortable. Hell yes, slay. When I brought this up to my wife, she got extremely mad, and went to stay with her sister for a week, even though she returned the next day. She never apologized, but took back her threat of getting rid of the pants. Your kid just wants to wear something they find comfortable and something they find nice wearing. This is not the hill to die on, man. I have been very upset since this happened and have been trying to take more time out of my day to talk to Betty and make sure she doesn't feel upset with her mom. Our biggest fight was tonight and why I'm sleeping in our guest room. While I was finishing dinner and the girls were setting the table, my wife stood at the door of the kitchen and told us all that Betty would not be allowed to do swim anymore. What? Why not? I got upset because you said this without talking to me first, and Betty was upset because all her friends are in swim. For context here, you have to know that we are from immigrant families, and our home country/elders are, to be completely honest, quite racist and colorist. My wife proceeded to explain to Betty that swim makes her spend too much time outside, that she had gotten too tan and didn't match her sister anymore. Now it's not only about forcing the same interests and hairstyles on the kids, now it's like racially forcing them into the same boxes as well because of a summer tan. Oh no. And that our family back home would make fun of her about it if we went to visit this summer. Okay, like maybe this is like a cultural difference, okay, for sure. But like if you tell your child like, hey, you can't be in the sun and get tanned because other people in the family are gonna bully you for it, you're a parent. You're such a piece of parent. It's unbelievable. It's like you're literally telling your child other people are gonna make fun for it. They're gonna be justified in doing so. Oh my god. Talk about like the opposite of having someone's back. I guess the opposite of having someone's back is just stabbing them in the back instead. And that's what this feels like. Can you imagine what your kid is gonna think of you when they grow up? This is so dark, man. Much darker than a tan in the sun, mind you. I got extremely upset at my wife and told her she can't tell our girls things like that, and that is extremely hurtful and irresponsible. Anna went and sat at the table, and Betty locked herself in the bathroom. The argument kept going, and I brought up how ridiculous she was being about matching. That is extremely dumb for the girls to still share a bedroom when we have a perfectly usable open one. That is even more frustrating. They're like basically stepping on each other in one single bedroom for no reason whatsoever. There's another one that's just empty. That is so frustrating. I would think my parents were so weird if I weren't allowed to have my own room growing up, if there was a spare one, you know? And that what she said was very obviously racist. She said she wasn't, but I decided this was not worth it and went to try to comfort Betty. I ended up having a long conversation with both girls where they agreed they wanted separate rooms, and apologized for arguing in front of them. I mean, that sounds very nice. Anna also told me she hates wearing matching hairstyles because their mom is aggressive with the brush. I apologized to her too. After cleaning up the kitchen, I realized my wife locked me out of the bedroom, and she won't even acknowledge me when I knock. she's just living through her kids, but in like specifically them having to be identical twins all the time. She also seems to have taken the keys from the utility closet with her, because I can't find them. I am extremely frustrated. I put the girls to bed and said we'll move some of the furniture tomorrow. I called my sister and we talked about it, but now I'm just more upset. I feel like I failed as a parent. They are 9. And also at 9, you're definitely old enough to like grow as your own person, you know? You have your own interests, you go into your own sports, you have your own friend groups, and so on and so forth. Forcing 2 9-year-olds to be identical is ridiculous. It's one thing if you have like a couple of like, I don't know, 3-month-old twins and it's like, oh, it's cute when they're matching things. Whatever, they don't give a crap what they're wearing, you know? It's just fun stuff. But when they're this old and forcing them into these boxes, no. I should have noticed sooner. I am seriously considering divorce, but I am worried how the girls will get treated if we end up with 50-50 custody. The twins are 2 individual people with different personalities. They are not her puppets to play with. She acts as if she owns them, rather than acknowledge they are their own persons. What she has going on is unbelievably toxic and controlling, and she sounds exhausting to be around. This is such a sad situation, and I feel so bad for the girls that are not allowed to just be themselves, because in this parent's mind they are forced to fit in a box where they have to be identical to each other. It's just living through your kids, but like making being a twin their entire main point of existence. It is so overbearing and weird, and I hope she either gets help for it so she can get out of this, or there is some way you can limit the influence of that in their lives, because that is going to be so damaging, and by the time they turn 18 they are not going to be returning home ever again. Oh my lord. I am 18, and I still have a curfew of 9:30, and I'm expected to give up my phone at 10:11 at night. When I was 18 with my buddies, we were hitting the town on Fridays and staying out drinking until 3 a.m., you know? Dad, night pillow phone by 11, plan to get home by 9:30. Bring phone, please, heart emoji. My dad says this is normal parenting. It is not, but my friend think it's insane. I feel really out of place at school because I'm not allowed to dress like the others, go out later than 9:30, and still have a screen time limit on my phone. Yeah, this stuff is not normal when you're 18 years old, you know? Like, the times I would imagine a parent like stepping in and being controlling about this is if you have been really going off the rails. I remember, for example, in a previous video, we had that story about like a person who was in college and they blew all their money to loan sharks. They were going to conventions, spending way more money than they could spend, and then the parents like stepped in and told them like, no, we're not gonna pay for you to live on your own anymore, you know, you're gonna live with us so we can like figure this out, that kind of stuff, you know? That makes sense. But that's like, you know, kind of like outlier situations when the kid has been going off the rails, and this doesn't sound like it. This just sounds really overbearing. It sounds like he hasn't processed the fact that you are actually 18 years old and like low-key kind of an adult and stuff, you know? and not like 12 anymore. I am a senior in high school, and I am graduating in a couple of months, so I get the whole my house, my rules thing. But I feel like this is a bit extreme. Yeah, it sounds more like he's struggling seeing you as an older person. It might also be something that he has anxiety or feeling that he needs to be protective or anything like that. I would say the first step is to talk to him about it. I don't necessarily think he's like being mean on purpose. Maybe it's like a misguided attempt to like be protective or something. Don't get me wrong, it's still overbearing, but trying to talk to them about it first is probably a good idea, unless you tried it already. Otherwise, good luck with college. Freedom, baby! Woo! The question is, parents, what do you do when your teenager refuses to clean their room? Okay, that's the post at the top here. Parents, what do you do when your teenager refuses to clean your room?
Everything out of the room except the mattress and 2 sets of clothes. 1 item back every day and 1 taken away if it's left unorganized. Multiple days left unorganized, multiple items for each day.
I don't know why, man. My kid just really hates me. This is insanity. I do like the fact that the other comments in the group are calling it out, because this sounds absolutely unhinged. And it's not even something that is like bad. It's like, oh, you have a kid or teenager that leaves stuff in their own room unorganized at times. And they just take away everything their own and hold it hostage, and 1 item back every day. Unless they mess up again, then I take it back. I don't understand why my kids won't talk to me. I was such a good understanding parent. 24 years old and still getting "come home now" text like a teenager. Oh, you see that? The 18-year-old from a couple of posts ago. It can always get worse. Grandpa.
When are you arriving home?
Soon.
Okay, I asked the time. Is soon a time? What are you doing out there?
Waiting for dinner.
Dinner? I thought you didn't have a great day. That kind of money.
It's just a burger.
Okay, you're coming after dinner.
Yeah, everyone is outside.
Who's everyone?
The whole New York City.
Cut the BS out. I'm sure you're not waiting for dinner anymore.
And then there was a bit of context written by OP underneath the post that said that they even slept outside on the stoop before, when they had like locked them out when they didn't like meet a curfew limit or something like that. So that's what this first comment is like replying to. Bad advice incoming. Don't sleep on the stoop. Go out and enjoy the city. Sleep in a park if you have to, or somewhere you feel safe, but don't let them locking you out stop you. Live your life. I guarantee you it will scare them more when they wake up and you're still missing. And if it doesn't, they're horrible people. Right, city that never sleeps, lol. Also, OP, could you not make your friends aware of this and just start maliciously complying with the lockouts by staying at a friend's couch? Kinda like a win-win. Don't waste your best years coming home at 8 p.m. Yeah, I can do the dinner plans. My GPs are batch controlling. Can I crash at any of yours after, even if it's just the couch? If a friend hit me with this, it would be an immediate yes, no questions asked. This is a legitimately good idea. I'll take this over sleeping on a bench, which could be like dangerous or whatever. I mean, it was prefaced with bad advice incoming. But this sounds fun. Involve your friends and make a game out of it. You know, this sounds amazing. That's a good way to get back at this kind of controlling behavior. Hell yes. When you're a 33-year-old newborn, apparently.
Oh, a small little 33-year-old minor. What time do you leave? Tyler may have them.
He's picking me up at 11:30 tomorrow.
What time do you get there? Is Bree flying with you? There is a shelter in place for Americans in Consumel, but we are supposed to dock there tomorrow and do an excursion. Send pics from your trip. What time do you get to Germany? Send me your flight info so I can follow your plane. Hello? I want to follow your flight. We have all day now because they canceled our excursion. Can you please respond? How long are you even gone for?
Here are ticket screenshots. I get back a week from today.
So fun. So you'll have the whole day tomorrow. Bree is flying with you?
Yes, and yes.
So exciting. Are you boarding soon? Can you reshare your location so I can see where you are this trip, either through Apple or Life 360? Please, praying emoji. Hello?
About to take off for DC.
Share your location on Life 360.
I don't have it downloaded.
Can you download it? I'll send you another invite, or at least to Apple. You have my location on your phone. You can cut me off when you get home. Life 360 is better though. Join my Life 360 circle. Thank you for sharing. Life 360 is better. The Apple locations are weird. Life 360 follows you. It's cool to watch.
You see the people who thought your parents were overbearing when you were teenagers? Try being overbearing and tracking you when you're fucking 33 years old.
I don't even think you would share your Apple location. I really want to see where you are on this trip, please. Or just ignore me.
I'm a little preoccupied. You should be focusing on your vacation, not mine.
I'm just excited for you.
Who has this much time to harass their own kids when they're on their own vacation as well? Go have fun and be busy.
We are about to go through rough seas tonight, the captain just told us, and some food places might be closed.
That'll be fun though. I'm about to take off for Frankfurt.
Will you accept that Life 360 invite before you leave or after you get airborne on Wi-Fi?
Probably neither, but I'll check in when I land tomorrow.
You suck.
I mean, to be fair, you are already this overbearing without sharing a location. Do I really want my phone buzzing every 3 minutes of someone who's not even on the vacation asking where I'm going?
Oh my god, you took a right on this street? Oh my god, it's surrounded by these places? Are you going to the Chinese restaurant down the street? Are you going to... What are you doing now? Is the... Did you make it to Germany? I wouldn't know since you won't share your location.
Passive-aggressive, the perfect vacation vibes. I would just mute this conversation until I came back home. I would not be this patient. Yes, we made it. Just fine.
What are you doing? How was the flight? Did you sleep?
It was fine. I didn't sleep at all. We're about to head to dinner.
What time is it there? Are you tired?
It's 8:30 and yeah, we're exhausted. We're going to bed early.
I get it.
Oh my god, this is exhausting. This is exhausting just to read. Why are you even entertaining this? Mute the conversation until you're back home. Oh my god. ADHD, top contributor. Has anyone sent their child away who has ADHD to another home, like a foster home, where they can't do it anymore? What do you mean can't do it anymore? Oh, they just let anyone be a parent nowadays. Holy fuck. My mom lied to the child exploitation investigator about her not generating AI images of me when she posted this image of me days earlier on Facebook. I'm confused. So this is an AI image of you? Yup. She also posts AI generated videos of me regularly, all of which I do not consent to, and lied about that too. If you're under 18, your parents can consent for you, unfortunately. Ooh, yes, the AI bubble cannot pop fast enough, whether you want them posted or not. There is not enough laws to protect minors online. Heartbreaking. I mean, it's also weird on the investigators, right? Because if I just look on this picture and look at like the small text under like the vintage like logo or whatever, it's just gibberish. You know, the text under the car on the shirt is just gibberish. It's so easy to tell that this is AI still, and they're just still whooshing it. My mom has gone off the deep end and is past the point of no return. Mother.
I would like to really talk to you about some things if you'll listen. Serious things that are about to happen. It's gonna get very scary. You have to know and prepare yourself for it.
Fine, tell me. No. Oh, here we go.
Everything happening around the world is all biblical.
Is it like bi or is it biblical? Maybe a bit of both if we're lucky.
Pay attention to everything going on in our country. All prophecies are coming to
all of them? Every fucking prophecy? That's a lot of prophecies, man.
There is a 24-hour period called the Great and Terrible Day. It will be happening soon. It will be very scary, especially for people who are not awake. I just want to somewhat prepare you for it. When, not if, you notice things really happening. No matter where you are, you must stay put for 24 hours. So if you're at work, please stay put there for 24 hours. Do not attempt to drive home. Same goes for Kevin. This is very serious. There is going to be things happening that you will not believe. Millions of people will be killed or die that day. There will be accidents, crashes everywhere, planes literally falling out of the sky. All airspace will be closed. People will be dropping to their knees, crying out to God. You must repent and accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Do this for Odie. No, you don't believe, but you will when this happens. It will be a worldwide event. And by the way, the age of accountability is 15. If you want to be saved and end up in heaven someday with your daughter, take this seriously.
If you want to be saved and end up in heaven someday with your daughter, take this seriously. Okay, I was kind of willing to excuse this as like laughable gibberish, but like when you start to talk to people like that, you're just an asshole, man. That is such an asshole thing to say. Oh my god.
Everything going on in the world is tied together. Evil governments, all countries being overrun with illegals, especially Muslims, which are the real danger. The money system collapsing, banks going under, the housing market, the mentals and other currency. Metals. That makes more sense. Cells within our country being activated. Jeffrey Epstein, COVID, etc.
Caps lock for some reason.
You've got to pay attention to what's going on in our country and around the world. Notice all the chaos around the globe. Please do your research and check all this out for yourself.
What possible fucking source do you have for all this shit? What do you mean do your own research? What do you mean? Have a fever dream?
This is not conspiracy. The prophets were brought onto the scene back when the COVID pandemic crap happened.
I see. Okay, yes, it's a pun. It's like, it's not a pandemic. It's a plandemic because it was planned. You see, gotta catch it fast.
It's all started. I'm gonna leave it right here. If you want to know more, I'm here. Do not look to mainstream media, but start checking into this for yourself, please.
What do you mean checking? What possible research have you done that led you to these conclusions? How did she react when the rapture didn't happen? I always wonder how these people don't get discouraged by their apocalypse predictions not panning out. No idea. When I've tried before to ask her to provide any of her sources or what proof she has, she always goes quiet and ignores it. It's crazy because she was never religious, but now, these last few years, she's gone from 0 to 100. I wonder if it's some sort of like mental health crisis, or maybe she's sitting and getting hyped up by some like AI chatbot or something like that and thinking that the AI has access to all of these secrets that, you know, makes all of this come true or whatever, and the plandemic. Man, what a rant. My mother sent this to me. Graduation ceremony.
What do you think? I used the birth name due to sending it out to family.
You mean the dead name? I'm assuming that's what this means in that case.
This person specifically. If you like it, I'll print them.
I have been out to my entire family for a little over a year and a half now. She is the only one who continues to use my dead name. Yeah, it was about the dead name. My memoir knows and respects me and loves me, but my mother continues to use her as a way to dead name me and be a transphobic butthole. Design your own. Mail them out. Tell her you already took care of it. Ooh, that's a really good way of getting ahead of it. That is really good. I like that idea, because then you completely bypass this person. You don't even have to deal with them or convince them. You just do it yourself instead. That is so good. That's a really good way of claiming power in this instance.
I'm not anti-vax, okay? What is this then?
My chart says my HPV vaccine is overdue.
That is a good thing. That is a horrible vaccine. I could go into detail with all my research. all of them researchers, huh? But it's just the way for pharmaceutical companies to make money, and lots of young teens, mostly girls, have died and or become sterilized.
Send me studies then. I want to be protected from bad diseases.
It doesn't protect you from any diseases.
Send me the studies then. That's what the vaccine is for, to protect me from disease.
Let's talk about it later. I'll explain. We can scroll my Facebook group together. That's where I get all my science. That's why I never got this one vaccine for you. It doesn't protect against any diseases, like the measles one, etc.
Wait, so you're anti-vax against certain vaccines, but not other ones? How do you pick? Can you send me a peer-reviewed study for this? How come I never knew that you never got me this vaccine?
I went to the company website years ago and read the studies they had.
What company? What company website?
I'll see what I can do. There is a lot more to the decisions. I'll talk to you about it.
I would hope that these are actually peer-reviewed studies, and I haven't been missing out on vaccines that could protect me from a harmful disease. Please send the link. I am going back to band practice now.
It's been a while. I'll look later. I'm a little busy.
You're never gonna get that link. You are never going to get that link. She is full of poo-poo. My mom has started referring to my childhood as our journey together and gets visibly hurt when I don't back her up in front of her new family. My mom remarried when I was 19, right after I left for college, and her husband is genuinely a good person. They have built something warm and stable together, and I have nothing against him or his side of the family. The problem is what my mom has started doing at family gatherings over the past couple of years. She has developed this whole narrative about my childhood that she performs in front of her in-laws, full of phrases like,
"We always made it work," and "I made sure she always felt supported," and "the two of us were such a team."
The version of my childhood in the story is unrecognizable to me. I was largely alone. She was overwhelmed and checked out for most of it. And the person I am now is the result of a lot of quiet work I did on my own and later with an actual therapist. At her stepdaughter's birthday 2 months ago, she told a whole story about how she used to drive me to weekend art classes because she knew it was important to nurture that. There were no art classes. There was no driving. I stood there and nodded because I didn't know what else to do with 12 people looking at me, waiting for me to confirm the memory. Afterwards, I gently told her I didn't remember things that way, and she got tearful and said I was rewriting history to hurt her, and that she did the best she could and deserved to be acknowledged for it. So wait, she feels... So it's about her. She's the main character in her parenting of you, and she feels she deserves credit for it, so she's gonna gaslight you about it. I'm gonna be honest, it sounds like those bad patterns of checking out are kind of just continuing, but in a kind of a different way. I don't doubt that she did her best, but her best and the story she is now telling are two completely different things. And I am tired of being the prop in a performance about a childhood that didn't happen. She called my aunt last week to say I'd been cold to her lately, and that she didn't understand why I was punishing her for mistakes she already apologized for, which is its own thing because there had been no apology. She's just a little gaslighter, isn't she? She's just a little gaslighter. She's like a serial liar. Oh my god. This kind of stuff is so obnoxious to deal with because it's also such an unnecessary conflict. It's not like you are actively, trying to shame her in front of her family for having like a tough time when you were a kid or something like that. It sounds like you worked on it, moved on, and still have a relationship with your parent, But the weird thing is her trying to claim credit for things she didn't actually do. Honestly, if this was me, I would probably call it out next time the family's gathered. It's like, what do you mean? I never had art classes. Not like aggressively or anything like that, but just like, I don't know, calmly correcting it. I would imagine after once or twice of doing that, she's going to stop. Of course, it's going to be rocky. People like this never respond positively when you correct their lies. But I suppose that's one of the few ways you can actually deal with this that would actually make her stop. Because this is really weird. She's actively like gaslighting you about your own childhood so she can tell like good stories about herself and make your childhood about her. I wouldn't put up with this kind of stuff, and neither should you. My dad sabotaged every relationship I had until I figured out why he was doing it. So this is going to sound crazy, but please hear me out. My dad, 58M, had been the most controlling parent my entire life. When I, 26M, turned 18, he didn't stop treating me like a child. Every girlfriend I had, he would find reasons to hate. He would show up unannounced at my apartment, interrogate my girlfriends like they were criminals, tell me they were using me, that they didn't deserve me, that I could do better. When I was 22, I dated Sarah for 2 years, and my dad literally called her parents and told them she was manipulating me.
What the hell? What? She broke
up with me because it was too embarrassing and complicated. that makes sense. I don't blame her, but this is incredibly insane to have to deal with a parent. I had 3 other relationships after that, and my dad managed to sabotage every single one of them through some combination of guilt trips, appearing at inconvenient moments, or straight up telling my girlfriends I was unstable. I was furious with him, but also kind of accepted it as just how things were going to be. I would cut someone off for doing this. I would cut ties with them if I could. Oh my god, they would never hear from me again. Like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Last year, I met Elena, and I decided I wasn't going to tell him about her. Smart. I kept it a secret for 6 months, which felt insane, but it worked. When I finally told him about her, he freaked out, obviously, and demanded to meet her immediately. I refused, and we had this huge blowout where I told him I didn't care what he thought anymore, and that his behavior had ruined my life. He got really quiet, and then asked if we could sit down and talk properly for the first time in years. It turns out my parents had infidelity issues when I was a baby. My mom had an affair, and my dad was terrified the whole time I was growing up that she would do it again, or that I would end up in the same kind of toxic relationship. I understand where he's coming from, but he's also like taking his own trauma or whatever and like literally over controlling and ruining someone else's life over it. Like, it's such an insanely massive overcorrection. I mean, yeah, of course your kid is not gonna get cheated on if he never has the chance to meet anyone. You know, like, technically it's true. Oh my god. He said he was trying to protect me from women who would hurt me because that's what happened to him. He genuinely thought he was helping. He has been in therapy since then, and we actually talk now about boundaries, and he's slowly learning his way of protecting me was actually as controlling and damaging. I still don't trust him completely, but I can finally see that his toxicity came from his own pain and not from pure malice. I mean, it's nice to hear that you're kind of repairing a relationship with your dad. Probably a good idea to keep him at arm's length distance still, but I'm glad to hear it's working out, and you actually got an explanation for it. That must be kind of satisfying in its own way, that you got this reason for it, that he's not just out to like get you or whatever, that it was misguided pain from himself and like a very, very, very big overcorrection about something that had gone wrong in his own life. My alcoholic and schizophrenic mother.
Please return my remote for my TV.
I don't have it.
I saw you take it.
Mom, I love you to bits, but I have been living in Ireland for almost 3 years now. I have not been in or near your house or your things. I hope you find your remote soon. I have not been to your house in over a year. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Just please grab some water and get some rest.
They broke the door lock on the front door, damaged the fireplace, and sliding door needs replaced.
I have absolutely no clue who they are. Like I said, none of my friends have been to your house at all.
I don't them here. I hope you're not trying to put me in mental ward.
Not at all.
Then stop them.
No one has been there.
Yes, they have. Whatever. If your so-called friends come back, they will be arrested.
No one has been to your house, Mom.
Plus, they have broken the slided and fireplace.
Mom, just get some sleep, please. No one is at or has been into your house. You're okay.
No, I am pissed. I have pics.
No one has been to your house at all, Mom. You're having hallucinations again. This is so sad and difficult to read. Oh my god, like the first message was kind of funny, where it's like, I haven't lived there in 3 years, I don't have your remote. Like that was kind of funny. That was a bit of a knee slapper. But as it goes on, it just becomes more and more sad.
No, I'm not. You set the whole thing.
Sorry, Mr. Call. What's up?
How are you doing?
Yeah, alright. Ready for the warm weather to come back, lol. You?
Your friends are not here.
Okay.
They are not allowing. Are you coming here?
And here's a conversation OP had with a neighbor or a relative, I believe it was. There are police reports of her saying there are people dressed as a tree trying to steal her trees. Okay, that is hilarious, though. That is absolutely hilarious. That could be a skit. I am not entirely sure how to respond to that. Just letting you know. So, did she call the cops saying there are people at her house dressed as trees stealing her trees? Yup. Okie dokie. I mean, some of the stuff out of context is pretty funny, but this must also be really sad and difficult to deal with, you know? I do hope she's able to get some sort of help for this, or move into a home where they can properly help her and assist her with this kind of stuff, because this must be such a burden for the family around, I cannot imagine. My mom showed up to my dorm unannounced and tried to get my RA to let her into my room while I was in class. I am a sophomore and moved into the dorms this year specifically because living at home was making it impossible to focus. My mom has always been the type who needs to know everything happening in my life in real time. I thought having physical distance would help set some kind of boundary naturally. I was wrong. 3 weeks ago, I was sitting in a 2-hour lecture with my phone on silent. When I came out, I had 14 missed calls and a string of texts escalating from "hey" to "why aren't you answering" to "I am coming to check on you." By the time I got back to my building, my RA pulled me aside and told me a woman had come to the front desk claiming there was a family emergency and that she needed to be let into my room immediately. My RA thankfully said they couldn't do that and asked her to wait in the common area. My mom had been sitting there for 45 minutes by the time I showed up. There was no emergency. She said she had a feeling something was wrong and that I never go that long without answering her. Okay, so she's basically setting up for the future that if you don't reply instantly to her text messages, she is going to escalate it, no matter what the reason is. If you're napping or literally in class, which, is pretty easy to assume considering it's probably work hours, if you don't reply instantly, no matter what the reason is, she's going to escalate it to the point that she tries to, break into your apartment. Essentially, that is the standard she has now set for the future of this. She's setting the standard that she's willing to escalate very minor things as a means of control. That is what she's saying. I told her she couldn't just show up like that, and she completely lost it. Said I was being cold, and that she just cared about me. No, this is controlling stuff. That you actually lied about there being an emergency, so you kind of called out your own BS on that one. My RA was still nearby and heard the whole thing, which was just mortifying. I asked her to leave and she cried in the parking lot and called my aunt, who then texted me saying I humiliated my mom in front of strangers. She humiliated herself. What do you mean? She went to your place because you weren't answering the phone during a class and caused a scene and tried to get access to your living quarters, which is against policy, lied about a family emergency, then caused a scene inside the building, caused another scene in the parking lot. What do you mean? She definitely embarrassed herself, on multiple occasions. Your aunt is on something. My mom hasn't spoken to me since and is now telling the rest of the family I turned on her the moment I left home. I mean, good, I suppose, the trash taking itself out, but it's absolutely awful to feel like she's trying to turn the family against you for, I don't know, being always at her beck and call. I would probably just casually talk to other parts of the family, honestly, about it. Just tell your aunt, okay, do you actually know the reason why she was being so overbearing? It's because I didn't reply to a text immediately, and she's been like this repeatedly, and now she's setting the standard that if I don't reply to a text immediately, she's gonna try to break into my living quarters. And what she's gonna do next? Call, wellness checks and stuff? What's the next escalation thing she's planning to do? She didn't care. She escalated and lied to staff to bypass your boundaries. Email housing with the details, ask for a note on your file, and tell your aunt humiliating was the point, control was the goal. I hear you. I'm torn on she meant to humiliate me, but lying to the staff is the line. I am emailing housing today and I told my aunt to chill. That is good. That is the stuff you need to do, and maybe this is the wake-up call your mom needs to realize that you're actually an adult and she can't just stomp in without an invitation anytime she likes. I pulled my mother's name from a local arts fundraiser after I found out she built her whole speech around my private journals. My mom is 61 and has spent the last few years reinventing herself as a very public community person. She sits on boards, chair galas, does those smiling photos with giant checks, all of it. I am 34F, work in design, and usually keep a pretty separate life from hers, because she has a talent for turning anything personal into a story about herself. We are not no contact, just careful. Last month, one of her friends asked whenever I would donate a framed print to a local fundraiser for a women's resource center. I said yes because it was a good cause, and because my mother swore she was only helping with logistics, not making it a family thing. A week later, she sent me a draft of the event program so I could check the spelling of my name. And tucked into the last page was a preview of her closing remarks, and my stomach dropped. She had built the emotional center of her speech around raising a sensitive, difficult daughter and learning to love me through my storms. She quoted lines from journals I wrote as a teenager, including one entry about feeling watched in my own house, and another about wishing I could grow up somewhere else no one already knew who I was. That is so incredibly ironic. You go through someone's private journals, turn them into a speech for the public without their consent, and the stuff that you took from the journal is about feeling watched. The irony is just staggering. Those journals were not given to her. She found them years ago when I moved apartments and said later she had kept them safe. I genuinely thought that meant in a box, not her back pocket for a future audience. I called her right away and she acted baffled that I was upset. She said the speech was not about me, apart from calling you difficult, and she had a challenge racing you and, literally reading out your private damn diary in front of an audience, but no. It's not about you, don't worry about it. But about motherhood, resilience, and how parents survive being misunderstood. You don't need to be misunderstood, okay? This is not misunderstanding. You just don't understand boundaries. There's no misunderstanding here. When I asked why my private writing was in it at all, she said those words were part of her life too, because she lived through that period with me. What the f***? What kind of life-claiming bullshit is this? Then she got offended and said I should be honored that something so painful was being transformed into something useful and beautiful. That would be valid if it was herself that chose to do it. If you turned like, oh, here's my painful diary I wrote as a teenager, but nowadays I'm reading snippets of it and talking about my experience, about how finding yourself or breaking out of bad stuff or whatever it might be. But it's on your own accord to do that. That's when it's beautiful. What the f*** is this? That phrase made me feel ill. I contacted the event chair myself, withdrew my print and told him I did not consent to being referenced in any speech or program materials. The chair was horrified and pulled my mom from speaking until they could sort it out. Now my mother is furious, saying I humiliated her, damaged her standing in the community. Because it's not humiliating to have your private diaries read in front of an audience without your consent. Yes, indeed, that's not humiliating, but saying no to that is humiliating for the other person. So boundaries are the humiliating part, not the humiliation. Alright. And took money away from women who needed the fundraiser because I chose to be petty about old notebooks. My aunt says I should have handled it privately after the event instead of blowing it up days before. Even though I would argue your mom didn't deserve that, you did try to resolve it privately and she declined. And then you made it public because there was no other way to stop it. So your aunt is also full of shit. What is it with all the aunts taking the wrong party in these texts, man? I think if I had stayed quiet, I would have been sitting in a ballroom while my mother read my teenage pain into a microphone and called it generosity. Yeah, no, you did the right thing. You did the right thing. Ask your aunt if she's volunteering to be publicly humiliated instead of you. Get your stuff back from your mom. Everything. Telling her to go to hell and putting her in a timeout is optional. I would do that. I would do that. This is such a ridiculous boundary crossing. And it's even more infuriating that she's doing it under the guise of charity. I am humiliating you for charity. So if you say no to my humiliation, you're actually saying no to charity. Oh, that's some gross manipulative stuff. Yeah. Mother kept calling wellness checks on me. So I have always suffered from depression. I was first diagnosed when I was about 10. About 12 years ago, when I was around 25, I went through a somewhat nasty breakup. I was feeling pretty rotten, so I called my mother just to vent. She didn't answer, so I left a voicemail saying, "Hey, can we talk?" and went to sleep. About 3 hours later, around 3 a.m., I am in bed sleeping. I hear a bunch of banging on my apartment door. I am not expecting anyone, assume it's for my roommate, ignore it and go back to sleep. 20 minutes later, someone opens the front door and starts shouting, "Residents of apartment number, come out and make yourself known! Come out with your hands up! I repeat, come out with your hands up!" I'm like, what the f*** is going on? I start putting on clothes, and while I am still half naked, a bunch of sheriff's deputies barge into my room with guns pointed at me and start shouting at me to put my hands up. I am legit freaking out, have no clue what's going on, and they tell me to finish getting dressed. I do, and then they demand I hand them my phone unlocked. So I do. They start going through my phone, I guess they don't find anything they're looking for, and then they demand to see my meds. I had a couple of bottles of antidepressants, anti-anxiety stomach meds, RIP, irritable bowel syndrome, and a bottle of over-the-counter sleep aid. All of my prescriptions were in various states of fullness, but the sleep aid was almost empty. Mind you, I still have no clue what is going on. So they see the nearly empty bottle and then radio for an EMS. They assumed I downed the entire bottle without even asking me and called EMS. EMS arrives and they start asking me questions. I mean, the wellness check is a kind of nutty thing to do in the first place, but also the sheer incompetence of this is absolutely insane. Why would you need 15 dudes pointing guns at someone because you think they took some sleeping pills? That is insane. And also not asking about it. It's 3 a.m. and it could just be a used pill bottle. Do they seem like they're affected by it even? These people are not competent to deal with this kind of stuff. EMS arrives and they start asking me questions. Asking about my meds, asking why the bottle was almost empty, probably because they were using it. It was only after EMS arrived that I started to find out what was going on. The deputies refused to tell me what was going on. EMS actually acknowledged my existence and answered my questions. They checked me out and concluded I was fine. That's a nice way to sleep, the adrenaline shock of thinking you're gonna get shot at 3 a.m. That's gonna cure that depression right away. Thanks, I'm cured! EMS informed me that my mother called 911 and told them I was in the process of offing myself. She freaking did this all because I left a voicemail saying I wanted to talk. She didn't bother calling me back. What the hell? She didn't text me asking what was up? Nothing? Oh my god, it's not even like, missed calls or whatever. I would still think it's unhinged, but then it's like, oh, I see that I have 15 missed calls from my mom. And, that kind of stuff. It's like, sure, that would lead a little bit of credence to it. By the way, still not justified. But now it's like insane. She didn't even try to call back. She didn't try to text. She didn't try to drive by the place herself. Nothing. Just straight up to like cops with guns. After all this was cleared up and everyone left, I called my mother to ask her what the f*** she was doing. And all she had to say was,
I was worried.
I told her if she was so worried, she could have called me back and talked to me. I also told her to never do this again. Well, she did it again 2 more times. Once because she texted me at 5 a.m. and I didn't reply right away, and I can't remember the last reasons. After 3 wellness checks with cops coming to me with guns out and a thorough search concluding in absolutely nothing wrong, they started refusing her future requests. Also insane that it took 3 times for them to refuse the requests. Yes, after 3 checks, she still continued to attempt more, but fortunately got denied. Was she just trying to get you killed? Is that what she was doing? Like, I have heard of wellness checks being used very maliciously in the past, and I'm almost getting that vibe. Like, was she trying to get something to happen? Like, Sorry for the super long post. I hope you enjoyed my story. This all happened several years ago. Thank you for all the advice. But this is long in the past, and my mother has since passed away. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that. Or I'm happy for you. I'm not even sure which one in this particular case, but at least you don't have to worry about wellness checks showing up at 3 a.m. at gunpoint anymore. So that's some sort of yay about it. Oh, I have a good reaction picture for this. Look at this one. My brother posted a new profile picture wearing a tiny bit of eyeliner, and his grandma took it upon herself to use ChatGPT to do this to him? Updated this profile picture.
Please be a man. You look beautiful. You're supposed to look handsome. Look what you have to look forward to. Look, I slopified you up, please.
Boomers and parents getting access to AI was indeed a massive mistake. My mom commented something overbearingly judgmental on my son's page, and I flat out told him she had lost the privilege of being able to see his page. The older generations are not owed access to relatives online, and this behavior will ensure they won't have it. Okay, let's round it off with a small wholesome post. Well, sort of wholesome, or like funny. Legendary dad status. Good morning. Your girlfriend doesn't have to sneak out in the middle of the night, dude. Go through the front door, walk her to her car, come back in, lock the door, stay awake until she's home. Oh, sorry. I thought you'd be mad. I know you're going to hang out with her either way. I was your age once, except I got more birches. There we go. Proper parenting. Hell yeah. Thank you so much for showing up to this video, you wonderful, beautiful beings, and I do hope you have an amazing rest of your day because you do deserve it, and I will see you again in the very near future. Take care. Mwah.